Let's do some money questions, but before we do the questions, we need to have a good understanding of the background. Right, so we've got the coins here. We're just going to talk about the name and the value. The first one we have is the penny. The penny is valued at 0.01 cents. Next, we have the nickel. Nickel is worth 5 cents. Write it as 0.05. Smaller one is the dime. Dimes are 10 cents, 0.10. Then we have the quarters. Quarters are worth 25 cents. Then we have the loonie. It's called a loonie because there's a picture of a loon on it. And finally, we have the toonie. $2 got a polar bear on it, but the reason it was called a loonie was so that it could go, or sorry, it was called a toonie is so that it would match the name loony. Now, based on this picture, we need to write two expressions about the coins and the amount of money we have here. So first of all, we have 8 nickels and 13 quarters. If I were to write an expression about the amount of coins, so the total number of coins, I would add up the numbers that I have. So this is equal to number of nickels plus number of quarters. If I wanted to talk about the total amount of money or value, I would have to take the number of coins and multiply it by the value of each coin. So if I wanted to know how many 8 nickels are, I would take 8 and then multiply it by 0.05, which gives me a total of 40 cents. Same thing for quarters. I would take the number of quarters and then multiply it by the value of 25 cents. That gives me $3.25. If I were to talk about the value, I would have to take the number of coins times the value. And then I have to add it to the second coin times the value again. Now, both of these are important to remember as we solve some of these questions. So, in total, we have 13 coins comprised of loonies and toonies. So, here's a concrete example. If I have this many loonies, how many toonies do I have? I know that you could do it in your head and tell me that there's 9 toonies, but I want you to represent it as an expression. So we know that the total number of coins is equal to number of loonies plus the number of toonies. So we know that we have 13 is equal to 4 plus t for toonies. How do I solve it? I could say t is equal to 13 minus 4. t is equal to 9, so I know for sure that I have 9 toonies. Let's create an abstract or algebraic representation. Write an expression for loonies and toonies, but we don't know exactly how many loonies there are. So if we don't know how many loonies there are, let's assign a variable to it. Let x be the number of loonies. We do know, however, that there are 13 coins in total. So remember back here, we got toonies by taking the difference. We knew that the difference between 13 and 4 would give us the number of toonies. So let's do the same here. So the number of toonies would be the difference between the total number of coins and loonies. So that means toonies is going to be equal to 13 coins minus x, which is the number of loonies. Example, you have 11 toonies and quarters worth $8. How many of each do you have? First of all, let's define our variable. We're going to write an expression for the number of coins that we have. So let x be the number of quarters. Now, if x is the number of quarters, then 11 minus x would be the number of toonies. Next, we're going to write an equation for the total value of the coins. So let's recall. When we talked about value, or the amount, we had to take the number of coin 1 times the value, plus we're taking the number of coin 2 and multiplying the value again. In this case, the number of coin 1, so the number of quarters that we have, is represented by x. We have x times the value of quarters, 0.25, and then we're going to add the number of coins, 11 minus x, times $2. We also know that in total, this was worth $8. So the amount is equal to 8, and I'm going to substitute that in the next row. So $8 is equal to 0.25x plus, and I'm going to rearrange this. So I have 2 times 11 minus x. Let's simplify again. So 8 is equal to 0.25x plus 22 minus 2x. Let's simplify again. 8 is equal to negative 1.75x plus 22. Now I'm going to rearrange the 22. 8 minus 22 is equal to 1.75x. Let's simplify by collecting our like terms. Negative 14 is equal to negative 1.75x. We're going to divide both sides by 1.75. To get x, and we have x is equal to 8. What does x tell us? X tells us the number of quarters that we have. So we have 8 quarters. And if we know the number of quarters, then we can find the difference to get the number of toonies. So 11 minus 8, we have 3 toonies. So what did we do? Let's recall the steps. First, we used the total number of coins that we had and wrote a value for quarters and toonies. Then we used the second piece of information about the value and wrote an equation for the amount. Once we substituted everything in, we were able to solve. We got our x value, and then we found our second value. Let's try another question. So you have 8 coins, dimes, and quarters worth $1.25. How many of each do you have? So first thing we're going to do, we're going to write an expression for the number of coins. So we're going to say let x be the number of dimes. So if x is the number of dimes, the difference of that would be the number of quarters. So 8 take away x will be the number of quarters. Next, we're going to write an equation to talk about the amount. So we have $1.25, and this is going to equal the first coin, dimes, times the value of a dime, and we're adding it to the second coin, which is quarters, and we're going to multiply it by the value of quarters. Let's simplify and rewrite this equation. So we have 1.25 is equal to 0.10x, and I'm going to write the monomial first so that it's easy for you to see. 0.25 times 8 minus x. Let's simplify this equation. So 1.25 is equal to 0.10x plus 2. We got that from taking 0.25 times 8 minus 0.25x. Let's collect our like terms. 1.25 is equal to negative 0.15x plus 2. I'm going to rearrange the equation. 1.25 minus 2 is equal to 0.15x. Simplify it again. Negative 0.75 is equal to negative 0.15x. Let's divide both sides by negative 0.15 to get the value of x, and we have x is equal to 5. Now, what that tells us is that we have 5 dimes and we have 3 quarters. I got 3 quarters because I took 8 minus 5 to get the number of quarters.